It was a quiet Sunday morning when my life at Willow Creek Ranch turned into a nightmare. A woman in a designer suit worth more than my monthly feed bill stormed up my driveway, clutching a stack of HOA violation notices. She introduced herself as Margaret Hensley, president of the Pinewood Estates HOA, and claimed my ranch was now under her jurisdiction. The catch? My 50-acre property, a family legacy for 3 generations, had never been part of any HOA. This was the start of a 4-month war with a woman hellbent on stealing my land, claiming her son deserved it more. I'm John Harper, 58, a retired agriculture professor, and this is the craziest story of my life. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? For 7 years, I've managed Willow Creek Ranch, a modest Texas spread with a sturdy house, barn, stables for my 3 horses, and pastures rolling down to a creek. It's not just land, it's my heritage, etched into every fence post. My late wife, Clara, and I dreamed of retiring here, but cancer took her 3 years ago. I promised to keep the ranch for our daughter, Lily, who's working with a conservation group in Costa Rica. Our neighbors were always fellow ranchers, valuing privacy as much as I did. But 2 years ago, developers turned a nearby dairy farm into Pinewood Estates, a cookie-cutter luxury community. I didn't mind, live and let live, right? Until Margaret showed up. That morning, her Tesla gleamed against my weathered barn. Her diamond earrings flashed as she handed me notices. My stables violated architectural standards, my grass was too tall, and my ranch sign wasn't approved. Fix these in 14 days or face fines, she snapped. I was stunned. Ma'am, my ranch isn't in your HOA, I said, brushing dirt off my hands. Her smile was predatory. The town council approved a boundary adjustment. Your property's ours now. She flashed a blurry map with redrawn lines swallowing my land. This is insane, I shot back. I never consented to this. Margaret's grin didn't waver. Notices were sent. Silence is consent. Get a lawyer, Mr. Harper. You'll need one. I called my friend Ellen, who runs the town's general store and knows everyone's secrets. Margaret's trouble, she warned. She was a big-shot developer in Chicago until her company tanked in a scandal. Now she's building an empire here. Ellen whispered. She's forced 3 families to sell to the HOA with fake violations and fines. My stomach sank. Digging through my mail, I found a town council notice about a boundary hearing, buried like junk mail, held on a Tuesday morning when no one could attend. This wasn't a mistake, it was a trap. At the county records office, I confirmed my deed's boundaries, unchanged since 1952. But the clerk warned, Margaret's been here, studying your files. Her lawyer just filed something. Days later, a court summons arrived. Pinewood Estates was suing me for $25,000 in fines for violations. On my own. The complaints were absurd. My stables were incongruous. My sign unapproved. My prairie grass unkempt. I dove into research. Margaret wasn't just an HOA tyrant, she'd run a shady development firm accused of fraud. In 2 years, her HOA had bullied 3 owners into selling prime land for expansion. My ranch was her biggest prize yet. Then her son, Ethan Hensley, showed up. A cocky 20-something in designer gear, he led a survey team onto my property, measuring and snapping photos like he owned it. What are you doing? I demanded. Relax, old man, Ethan sneered. We're scoping out development potential. This'll be Pinewood's luxury resort by Christmas. I was livid. You're trespassing. Get off my land, or I'm calling the sheriff. Ethan smirked but left, tossing out. You're fighting a losing battle, Professor. I called my brother, David, a Houston attorney. This is illegal, he fumed. They can't claim your land without consent. Document everything, photos, interactions, everything. I met with Mayor Wilson, a 20-year friend, but he dodged my questions. Pinewood brings tax revenue, John. This is a legal matter now. Worse, the County Water Authority emailed, my water line, crossing alleged HOA land, would be cut off in 7 days. Then I found it, a forged agreement, with my signature claiming I'd joined the HOA. Margaret wasn't bending the rules, she was breaking the laws. The next morning, construction trucks roared onto my property. Ethan waved a work order to fix violations. You have no authority here, I shouted, dialing the sheriff. Sheriff Tom Carter, an old classmate, arrived and shut it down. No court order, no work, he told Ethan, who stormed off, vowing, this isn't over. I installed security cameras and gathered evidence, surveys, water rights, neighbor affidavits. Ellen connected me with 2 ex-Pinewood residents who'd been forced out by Margaret's tactics, fines and harassment until they broke. Through town gossip, I learned Margaret was spying on my ranch, photographing every move. A settlement offer arrived, sell for 40% below market value or face endless lawsuits. I tore it up. Then Ellen dropped a bombshell. A maid overheard Margaret discussing a massive water source under my land, worth millions. I researched Texas water rights and found my ranch sat atop an unmapped Trinity Aquifer extension. Margaret's old firm had ties to Aquapure, a water company. This wasn't about an HOA, it was about water. One night, my stable lock was broken, and my horses were loose. My mare, Daisy, had a deep cut. Security footage showed 2 masked figures, one with Ethan's swagger. I reported it, but without clear proof, Sheriff Carter could only warn me to stay vigilant. Margaret piled on, issuing a notice claiming my unsecured livestock was a hazard. I went public, giving a newspaper interview about the aquifer and Margaret's Aquapure ties. The next day, my truck's brakes failed on a curve. My mechanic confirmed the line was cut deliberately. This was no longer harassment, it was attempted murder. I confronted Margaret's lawyer, Richard Blake, at his office. I know about the aquifer and Aquapure, I said. His eye twitched. You're in deep, Blake. Brake-tampering's a felony. He ushered me out, but I snapped a photo of a hydrogeological map on his desk, marking my aquifer. The next day, a man called Thomas Reed, Margaret's ex-partner. At a coffee shop, he shared damning evidence, emails proving Margaret's Aquapure payments and a shell company, Pinewood Springs LLC, formed to grab my water rights. She ruined me, Thomas said. Expose her. With David, I built a case, rallying Pinewood residents fed up with Margaret's 50% HOA fee hikes. At a community meeting, I exposed the aquifer scheme. Margaret crashed it, yelling, "This is slander!" But residents turned on her, demanding answers about fees. Blake's phone rang mid-meeting. Whispers of Aquapure and deadlines slipped out. They fled rattled. Days before court, Judge Ellen Torres, a property rights hawk, replaced a pro-development judge, boosting my hopes. The night before the trial, Margaret's Tesla pulled up. "Sign this quitclaim deed, or I'll bankrupt you," she sneered, offering half my ranch's value. "No deal," I said. She hissed, "Ethan might visit your stables tonight. Watch your horses." I called Ellen, and by dusk, 20 friends and Pinewood residents held a protection barbecue at my ranch, guarding it all night. At midnight, cameras caught Ethan and 2 men with chemicals near my well, planning to poison the aquifer. Sheriff Carter arrested them. Ethan confessed. Margaret ordered the sabotage to force me out before the ruling. In court, Margaret's team claimed I'd consented to the HOA rule. David countered with my forged signature, 1952 surveys, and Thomas's Aquapure evidence. Judge Torres grilled Margaret, who crumbled. When Thomas testified, Margaret screamed, "He's lying! Losing all composure, Ethan's arrest sealed her fate. Judge Torres ruled the HOA had no jurisdiction, the boundary expansion was illegal, and the signature was forged. She ordered Margaret to pay my legal fees, issued a restraining order, and referred her for forgery and fraud charges. Margaret took a plea deal, fines and community service. Ethan got probation, working at a ranch to learn respect for the land. Blake cooperated to save his license, but his career tanked. Pinewood's HOA was overhauled with a new board. I used the settlement to start a therapeutic riding program for kids. Ellen and I grew close, finding love after my loss. David bought land nearby, strengthening our bond. A water co-op offered a fair deal to use the aquifer sustainably, benefiting the town. Willow Creek Ranch stands as a testament to fighting for what's right. Margaret taught me that heritage and justice outweigh greed. What do you think of her tactics? Should family legacy trump profit, or was she just playing a ruthless game? Share your thoughts below. I'm curious where you stand on standing up to bullies like Margaret.